You're watching Oilersnation Radio.
What are you looking at?
I'm hearing something.
Is it people outside?
Oh, yeah, it is people outside.
What?
Confuse the hell out of me, boys.
Welcome to
Then Bag Milk almost
Nation
dropped.
Radio. Almost dropped my laptop. That's okay.
We're
This
off
is
to a
my
flying
personal
start.
one. It is not my company one.
I like that Tyler just forgot we walked through a room of like 8 people to get in here.
Mm-hmm.
I know. There's people like outside the building, Dan.
Well, it's beautiful outside today too, so there's a lot of people sitting just eating
Oh, is the
lunch
window
outside.
open?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, it's not.
Oh,
That's
walls are
even
just
better.
thin.
Yeah,
These walls could talk.
they don't have
I
to.
look at
You just
you.
listen to people outside. They don't have to. Welcome to Oilersnation Radio. As you know, dear listener, everything's going great. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about all your concerns. We're going to talk about Waz's evil bit that he did today to all of us when we walked in the building. I don't know if he did it to you guys, but he did it to me and he did it to Dan.
Did it to me too, yeah.
I don't know what it was. He asked me a question. I didn't know it was a bit.
His bit is essentially he wants to take the worst ideas from the nation's social media and ask the staff for their opinions on it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
he asked me, he did a whole like, Stuart Skinner shouldn't be the starter anymore. Got to call up Ollie.
Oh, yeah. He asked me about Janmark.
You asked me another question about Darnell Nurse.
Yeah, I got asked if Nugent-Hopkins is a bottom 6 forward.
Right now he is.
I think there's a lot of people you would call bottom 6 forward on this team right now.
Yeah.
He did play on the third line the other day.
And he
Back up to the first line today, though.
Really?
Is
Yeah.
he? Adds up. One good.
So things are going well. Anyway, we got a podcast to get through, but first I got to tell you about the brand new Nation beer. The Nation Network has partnered with Odd Company Brewing for the Nation Beer Everyday Lager. I still owe Liam 4 lagers, although with interest now, I think it's probably 2 4-packs that I owe Liam now.
25.
So don't worry, Liam. I'm accounting for interest. I owe you. You won. You won our bet, fair and square, and I will pay you. I promise.
And easily.
Easily. This is huge. Easily. Anyway, where was I? Nation Beer. It's called the Nation Beer Everyday Lager. Perfect for the next big game or just to be your next go-to lager. When the Edmonton team stinks, Bag Milk drinks.
Correct.
Do you like the rhyme?
When
It's brand safe rhyming.
it is, you are correct.
Thank you.
Going to be getting no cease and desist for that bad boy.
Go to either of the 2 Odd Company locations here in the city, or you can go on Liquor Connect and do a little search for Nation Beer. See where it's available near you. If it's not available at your go-to liquor store, you go in there and you say, "Hey, listen, guy or lady, what's going on here? This is a fine establishment. I frequent it often. I'd like Nation Beer in here, please."
Liam said it's available in Bonnieville.
Yeah, it is.
Really?
Mark Wentz bought some.
Were you going to see the Pontiacs?
No, I've not made my way out to Bonnieville yet. The Ville.
All right.
The Big B.
So you're going to see the Pontiacs.
Yeah,
Not this time.
So the RJ. See our buddy Michael Menzies.
Shout out Michael Menzies,
Mm.
the voice of your Bonnieville Pontiacs.
All right. Anyway, go to Liquor Connect, Odd Company Brewing, proud partner of the Nation Network on the all new Nation Beer. Start off with a delicious debate. Every single podcast we do, I turn it over to Tyler Yamchuk. What do you got for us today?
We'll talk about the forward lines because, again, another new look coming to that group, as you just touched on. But I want to go to the D pairings for the delicious debate. There is, no matter what the Oilers do, how intense the blender gets, their D pairings usually stay relatively the same. It's Ekholm and Bouchard, Nurse with someone, Kulak with someone. So your delicious debate, is it time for the Oilers to maybe look at changing up their D pairings, including that top pairing?
Well, I'll just take the easy, low-hanging fruit on this question. That Bouchard-Ekholm pairing was awful against Vegas. The lack of urgency, specifically by Bouchard, and like I don't want this to turn into a whole pile on Bouchard thing. I think he's had a tough enough week. I know you guys talked about it at length on your show, but the lack of urgency against Vegas was shocking. First goal, stood and watched, coasted backward. It reminded me of the first game of the year. Remember when Mark Scheifele got a breakaway off a giveaway at the blue line by Bouchard? He just turned around and went, Stu's got it. There was a lot of that. And on the game winner, it was the same thing. So to answer the question specifically, the delicious debate, yeah, sure. At least give it a look. At least give it a mix. At least give it something else, because what we've got going on right now, specifically on the defensive coverage, is not working. It is no good, and it makes me sad inside. Liam?
Yeah, it's brutal. Just looking at the numbers right now. Time on ice at 5-on-5. Darnell Nurse is 3rd, 4th, and 5th with a different player. And I just don't think that's really a recipe for success either.
Can you dumb that down for me? What are you saying here?
So the top pairing, the most time on ice, Ekholm and Bouchard.
Okay, go ahead.
And then they have Kulak and Emberson is the next one. And then Nurse has 93 minutes with Stetcher,
Go ahead.
72 with Dermott, and 51 with Kulak. And those are 3 through 5.
Gotcha.
And another 15 with Emberson down there.
Oh, yeah, there you go. So they're really like just throwing Nurse around with everyone. There's one pairing, BM, that stands above the rest, and it's Kulak and Nurse. Their Corsi percentage for is 66%. They've been on the ice for 1 goal for, 1 goal against.
How many minutes have they played together?
51. So that's a pretty good rate. Yeah, that's not nothing. So I just think too, like, I think you'll probably give Ekholm and Bouchard a redemption game because you know they are good enough, but I actually don't know what the lines are for today. I would assume they didn't put Kulak and Nurse together, did they?
No.
I don't get it. Put them together. Give Stetcher the game off because he just took a huge block shot, which probably stung. Just do Dermott and Emberson and play them like 10 minutes.
Dan, what do you got?
I was just going to say it'd be super critical of me to not preach more just consistency for this team. And I think you just kind of touched on it there, Liam. We went into this season with a huge question mark on our back end that we didn't have the answer for. And we were just hoping Emberson, Stetcher, those guys were all going to work out. Something was going to figure itself out. And it hasn't yet. I know that we're not winning hockey games, but like you have Ekholm and Bouchard who were just steady Steve last year. And you could just write home about that. We're touched on it again. Like Darnell Nurse needs a pairing and that's it. And then everything else can be figured out from there. I don't know if it's Kulak myself, but I just want to see some consistency for these guys.
You know, we've talked before, like Darnell Nurse seems to always play his best when he has a puck mover next to him. And this is a pairing that they haven't tried a lot of over the last few years, but in the last 2 seasons, Darnell Nurse and Evan Bouchard have played 227 minutes together at 5-on-5. They controlled 61% of the shot attempts, 60% of the shots, only 52% of the goals, but 60% of the expected goals for, 61% of the expected goals for. I'm just saying maybe Evan Bouchard could use a little bit of a scramble here to jolt himself into things a bit. And him and Darnell Nurse, as much as I think people might sit there and go, whoa, that's a lot of chaos. Maybe it just wakes Evan Bouchard up a little bit, gets him out of his routine. And then I would honestly go Ekholm with Kulak and be like, you're our shutdown duo. Have at her. Like they both move the puck fine. Neither of them are like Bouchard, obviously, but they can both survive. Then your third pairing, like you said, Liam, Emberson and someone for 10 to 12 minutes a night. But I would make a change and I would see Bouchard, Nurse, give him 3 games. See what you got.
I'd like to see Nurse with Kulak for sure. Like Coombsy wrote a story at Oilersnation.com yesterday about how good those two have been. They looked at the underlying numbers, all that stuff. It's worth a try.
Yeah.
Because right now we are got a yard sale in the defensive zone. Back to you, Liam.
So call me out if I'm wrong on this.
Okay.
A lot of Bouchard's errors come at the blue line, which lead to breakaways, stuff like that. They
when
come
his
in the
controller cuts off is what I call it.
It's a good way to put it. In the offensive zone. And then him and Ekholm aren't quick enough to kind of recover on it. They're not bad skaters by any means. But then a lot of Nurse's problems come in the defensive zone. You know, like lack of coverage, all that kind of stuff. I wonder if that pairing would actually work in Nurse and Bouchard because they would get a lot more offensive zone starts, which would then limit the defensive errors. You know what I mean?
Yeah, shelter their minutes a bit and give all those tough minutes to Kulak and Ekholm. I think there's something to it.
A Nurse is a great enough athlete to recover on that kind of stuff. Where like maybe you can help out Bouchard in that regard. I don't know. Maybe it's not too crazy.
I don't mind that at all, actually.
Yeah.
But like something has to change because the defensive coverage has been a mess.
Yeah, which is weird because they aren't giving up a lot of chances, but you're right. Like when it falls apart, Oh boy, does it ever fall apart.
It's like they're not giving up a bunch of mistakes, but the ones they're giving up are so bad and they're all ending up in the net.
Yeah.
Or wide open looks that the other team misses. That was the previous game.
Yes.
But still, that kind of idea.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a handful of things wrong with this team right now. And I think the encouraging thing is maybe like, okay, they're making these massive gaffes defensively. They should be able to clean that up. The penalty kill and the goaltending on the penalty kill specifically has been terrible. That should get cleaned up. They should also start scoring right away. I know I wrote about it earlier in the week, but like they are not going to shoot under 6% very long.
Currently, as we're sitting today, Tyler, to your point, the Oilers are ranked third last, 30th overall in 5-on-5 shooting percentage.
Like, come on. This seems way too good to finish in the
last
bottom
year.
third.
I looked at some of the last GDBs I wrote towards the end of the regular season last year. Their shooting percentage at that point was double where it's at right now.
That's crazy.
It was 10.8, 10.9, roughly in there.
Yeah, Zach pointed it out on Twitter, but like it's interesting to look at where this team ranks in 5v5 save percentage this year and be like, man, it's actually not that bad despite everyone, wanting to jump on the goaltending. A lot of the bad goals that have kind of gone in or that have gone in, they're happening on the PK. Like if the PK gets cleaned up, it's okay. At 5-on-5, the Oilers have the 13th best save percentage in the NHL. Again, they're getting league average goaltending. If you just look at that as a metric at 5v5, it's just, again, the penalty kill right now. If the special teams were better, we'd be talking about this team so much differently.
Yeah, of course. And I think like I've probably written this exact line 4 times over the last 2 weeks, but if you had asked me before the season started to make a list of all the problems the Oilers would have, I wouldn't have had the power play on there.
No.
It's painfully mediocre right now. And I know you guys have talked about it a lot. I get asked about it anytime I go on the radio. We talk about it on this podcast. Like they got to do something there too. Like they got to simplify, get greasier. This 12 passes before a shot thing that they got going on right now is driving me nuts. And when they do take shots, like Bouchard is struggling to get them through.
4 more blocked shots last game.
Like that's wild.
Yeah. Someone tweeted he's on pace to have the most blocked shots ever by a defenseman.
All right, number 1.
Gregor tweeted that.
Was it Gregor?
Yeah, so Gregor tweeted that, and it's like he's on pace to like smash the record. I think the record is like 312 shots, or the record's like 296 shots blocked in a season, and Bouchard's on pace. Here you go. He leads the NHL with 51 shot attempts blocked. He's on pace for 321. The NHL record is 296.
So not just break the record, stomp the record.
Yeah, beat it by like 5% or something crazy.
Pretty impressive.
It really feels
10%.
like he's setting up so many of his shots to shoot at the other players already. Like I was at the game against Vegas and I was sitting in the Sportsnet lounge so I could see all of his shot lanes. And man, like every time he's firing the puck, there's 2 guys in front of him. It's just destined to fail. And it feels like last year. And I kind of got a little bit optimistic when I saw Brett Kulak get that tip in because I'm thinking that's the Paul Coffey effect. That's that confidence and that arrogance. And yeah, you're just not seeing it with Bouchard. He's not taking that extra second to find that extra step to find the lane.
I think that when Bouchard's at his best and he's feeling confident, he does a better job of like, he'll fake his shot, just moves 8 inches over to the right or the left, find a different lane and then get it through. Yeah. But right now he's not really doing that. He's just like brute forcing it through. And unfortunately it's not getting through.
And you're right. There's last year when he was at his best, it's a lot of plays that kind of make you like wince and hold your breath. And then he makes them and you're like, damn, like that's why that guy's so good. But right now, the simple plays look hard to him. There was a play in the first period last game. The Oilers were buzzing. They're starting to move the puck. And I forget who it was. They fired a pass over to Bouchard. And it just like hit his stick and they kind of like did the whole like dribble behind him. And then it went out of the zone. And it was like last year, he grabs that, takes one look up and hammers it. And it's a scoring chance. And now it went back the other way. They had to regroup before they could get back on the attack. And it's like, again, that right there, I still believe in Evan Bouchard as the player. I don't think anyone who's being, rational is giving up or saying that last year was some sort of an anomaly. Like he's very talented. It's been a rough 13 games. You can say it about the offense. You can say it about Bouch. You can probably say it about the special teams. It should turn around. And if 2 of these 4 things turn around, they're going to start winning games. If all 4 turn around, they'll get on a run.
Well, let's not forget Tyson Berry put up numbers on this power play, Tyler.
People love to point that out. I mean, he didn't put up 82 points, but
And look at him now. Now he's a PTO guy. Come on.
Like, as we're talking today, the Oilers are tied for 31st in goals for.
The only forward group who has
That's
scored.
wild.
Yeah. The only forward group that scored less than the Oilers forward group is the Anaheim Ducks.
The Anaheim Ducks.
Just right where we thought we'd be. In
There
the
are
standings.
3 teams tied for 31st in goals for this year, or as we're talking today. It's the Red Wings, the Predators, and the Oilers. 2 of those teams should not be there.
And this isn't even as bad as last year's start was.
Well, so that's what I was going to say.
That's the other thing that's funny.
If I would have told you before night 1 of the season, hey, on November 8th, the Oilers are going to be 31st in scoring and their penalty kill is going to be 59% and their power play is going to be whatever it is, 10%, you would have been like, oh my God, we did the 2-9. It's almost impressive that they're 6-7-1 with these numbers.
We are still not yet at the anniversary of when they fired Woodcroft a year ago.
Yeah, we're
Do you know
at
what-
stage 1 though.
Do you remember what today is the anniversary of?
oh, wait.
San Jose Sharks loss?
Oh, we're past that, I believe. I think we're past that. Calvin Pickard got called up today.
Oh, that's right. Waz was sitting next to me yelling me that. So I knew that. But I forgot.
Good time.
Remember his first game and what happened?
I do not.
It was against the Florida Panthers and the others lost 5-2 and Broberg was skating backwards, stepped on the stick and got benched for the rest of the game. And they scored. It was like
So
pretty harsh.
tomorrow is the anniversary of the Sharks loss, which means it's the anniversary of me tweeting that we're watching the Connor McDavid era unravel. And then we went to Seattle.
And then we had fun.
And they
I was thinking about that the other day because the Oilers obviously lost the other night. I'm doing my thing at home. And we were in Seattle for the nation vacation and Tyler and I were roommates. And I woke up and I look over at Tyler and the first words that I heard that day, they went, oh my God, they fired Jay Woodcroft. And I just opened my eyes and I was like, huh?
They won. Did I get so drunk last night that I forgot that they won? Or I made up that they won?
Ah, good times. It's fun to be an Oilers fan.
And we did an emergency podcast, and I think Jay did it in his underwear.
Yep.
Classic.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a weird time.
He actually took his pants off to record, which I found to be odd.
That San Jose game, that was crushing.
That one was a tough one.
That one really sucked.
That was a tough one, yeah.
Because it was just, there's been moments, obviously, where there's not been a lot of belief as this fan base, but to like have the hope and then just like have it absolutely sucked out of you in that moment, it's like, damn, maybe they do suck.
They outshot
Maybe we are
them
bad.
41-18.
I remember San Jose scored first, right? Thomas Hurdle
Fabian Zetterlund.
from Hurdle.
Yeah.
I knew it.
And then Nurse scored, it was 1-1. Then Hurdle scored, it was 2-1. Zadina made it 3-1. 2.5 minutes ago, Nuge scored. And then I remember the Oilers poured it on. I swear they had like 8 shots in the final 2 minutes. And it was like, they're going to tie it. They're going to tie it. They're going to tie it. And I think they maybe even like hit a post. And it's
And
like,
there was a post-game interview from Draisaitl where he was giving the really sassy comments being like, I don't know. If we knew, we would have figured it out. Like all those
And
things.
do you remember
fair
like
enough.
the walk of shame from Woodcroft and Manson after that game where they were just walking off and they just looked so
They
dis-
shrugged at each other.
Yeah, they were like, I think that was it, is
Yeah.
what the quote was.
yeah,
right?
they definitely, they mouthed something to each other. It's like, you think we're done? And it was like, yep.
Oh, boy.
And then they won their next game.
And then they got fired.
And then they were done.
And then- and then
So what we're saying is
Look out.
watch out, Nobby.
and we've heard from Woodcroft twice since then.
Yep.
He's just a man of
In a
mystery.
league that is a circle for head coaches.
Yeah.
Well, he's still on the Oilers payroll, so maybe he'll, I'm just putting it out there.
Maybe he's not allowed to talk.
Oh, they what's that guy's name? They Luke Bryan'd him.
Zach Bryan.
Zach Bryan. Zach Bryan'd him.
There goes my cold performer.
Luke Bryan.
I don't care about country music, Liam. I'm trying to keep up with this
I couldn't care about any
Brianna
of
chicken
this
fried
stuff.
nonsense. It's
My-
popping up on my TikTok all the time.
My sister was telling us about that last night. My dad's like, this woman's called Brianna Chicken Fry. It was a whole thing.
All I know is she apparently turned down $12 million to
I
not
know.
sign an
Credit
NDA.
to
So
her.
that's balls.
I saw this tweet and it was, if you told me 10 years ago that Dave Portnoy and Josh Richards would drop a diss track on Zach Bryan for cheating on Brianna Chicken Fry and it would get more coverage than Donald Trump winning the election, I would say, I don't know any of those words.
Anyway, we're going to pivot the rest of the podcast into the election coverage.
Swing states.
I got Frank on the line.
Anyway,
From a swing state. Okay.
needless to say,
Halloran.
delicious debate. If you listen to this, you change the D pairings. I think we all do.
I think, again, like they're so quick to be like, oh, bad period, forward lines. Everything's changing. Fourth line's the first line. Second line's going to Bakersfield. And then the D pairings are like, give them another month. Just see what we got here.
But they still do tweak them every game. One tweak here.
Yeah.
Just one change.
I also think too, just sorry, final thing on it. Like, if you had a guy like Travis Dermott, which the others do actually, and you're like trying to play him these second period minutes, would it not be more beneficial to him to play him like 14 minutes?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, it's probably way easier to be like, hey, Travis, we just need 12 to 15 good minutes of you tonight. That's
You think so?
Knoblauch sitting there like, if we just swap Dermott for Stetcher one more time, this thing will really click.
I want an 11-7. Let's fucking throw the blender in there real
Why
good.
not?
Sure.
Oh my
Why not?
goodness.
Well, Janmark's day to day, apparently.
Well, he got taken into the boards against the Golden Knights and he went immediately down the tunnel.
Never a good sign.
No, and for a guy who seems to have at least a reasonably high pain tolerance, given what we know about Mattias Janmark, there was a lot of pain on that face. And then I'm thinking it was the next shift or the one after that where Troy Stetcher took that clapper to the ankle. He also looked like he was in a tough spot. So we'll see what the actual pairings are. And well, do you think that? So the Condors play twice in Calgary and then they play twice in Abbey.
Yes.
If Mattias Janmark is day to day, are we just bringing back Noah Philp?
Hey, you and I have driven from Abbotsford to Vancouver before. It's quick. You can do it.
It's not bad.
So I would imagine you just bring up Philp and move Derek Ryan to the wing, right?
That's what I would do.
Yeah. It was funny to see today at the Oilers skate. They were basically just running three lines because they don't have an extra forward on the roster and Janmark couldn't play. So they were like just rotating in Perry and Derek Ryan.
Good times.
They were the best of times. But I do think Noah Philp probably has a decent chance of playing on Saturday, which is good.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the Oilers are better with Noah Philp in the lineup, frankly.
Yep.
Speaking of the Condors, has there been an update on what happened to Matt Savoie? Sounds like he took a shot to the ankle as well.
I believe he played the next night. So I think he's okay, but there is an issue here with this Condors team. And it's just that the Oilers organization doesn't have enough forwards. Like the Condors played a game not that long ago with 10 forwards in the lineup.
Which is interesting because they just sent down Brady Stonehouse or sent him back to the OHL.
Because I think they had to. He's healthy. He can't play in the Baco.
Oh, it wasn't just an organizational decision.
No.
Oh, they couldn't just send him
Because
back when he was injured?
You had to be healthy. It's like Jarventi, remember? He was on the line.
Yeah, I figured that
Was
might be
Jarventi
different.
like he was in and then he's out, right?
He's out again. He's hurt.
Farewell. We hardly knew ye.
But like if you follow Bruce Kurlock's tweets and he watches a lot of Condors, like Jarventi sounds like there's like a player there, but he can't stay healthy.
Yeah, like honestly, if Jarventi could have been healthy out of camp, you probably would have seen him called up before Kajula this year.
Really?
I think so.
Probably a conversation for sure.
Well,
but he hasn't been.
Tomorrow night, the Edmonton Oilers take on the Vancouver Canucks for the first time since beating them in Game 7 of the second round of the playoffs.
Do we all want to do our favorite memory of that series?
Yeah.
Sure, go ahead.
Winning in Vancouver Game 2 in overtime. That was awesome.
Oh, off Ian Cole's skate.
Yeah. Shout out Ian Cole. Has one goal for the Oilers this year again.
You know it was not awesome?
All
Game 1.
No, that was arguably my worst hockey experience ever.
That was not awesome.
Remember, we were sitting there. We almost did like a little huddle before overtime in Game 2. And it was like, okay, boys, if the Oilers score, we wait. We do not leave because we are going to get assaulted. If the Oilers lose while everyone's cheering, quickly out the back door, back to the hotel, we're safe.
Yep.
And we had like a game plan for how to get out of there.
We did. And that was just the bananas thing about watching. I've never had to do that or think about that in an arena ever.
No, not a hockey game.
It's crazy. I remember watching Game 7 and like, again, so nervous because of everything that was on the line. And like, that really is why we do this and love sports, is because of that feeling.
Yep.
But my TV was a little bit behind. And I remember sitting there just freaking out, deep breaths, cake. And then my phone buzzes and I look and it's Friedman, Hronek, 3-2. And I look up, I'm like, we're coming back from we're coming back from an icing. And I threw my phone across the room. I was like, damn it. And Amber was like, what's wrong? I'm like, they just gave up a goal. No.
That last 5 minutes of that game was intense.
Mm-hmm.
I remember breaking it down into like 20-second intervals, being like, just get to the 440. Okay. Just get to 420. Okay. Just get inside 4 minutes. You're probably okay. It was brutal, man.
Dan, what's your favorite memory from beating Vancouver?
To be honest, I don't remember much of that series, but I do remember beating up on Vancouver in that game 6 when you're feeling the dread of, oh shit, is this going to be over early? And they just thumped them and gave that confidence back to the fan base that felt like you could go into Vancouver and do it again.
Especially because of how game 5 ended. Remember with Besser scoring with like 30 seconds left? Yep. I remember we were at Greta and it was just like,
Miller,
sorry.
I remember I was at a game with sales guy Jared. And it was the game when the Living on a Prayer crowd chant and then Evander Kane scored in the place when that's one of the coolest things I've seen in that building ever.
That was sweet.
That was a good series. It was fun and it was intense. And I'm guessing tomorrow will probably be a little bit spicy, but like hopefully that means the boys can get themselves fired up to go, right? You would think they would be motivated to go against Vancouver because Vancouver would be motivated to go against them. Big 4-2 win last night for Vancouver. They've now won 3 in a row.
It looks like Brock Besser would be out though.
Yeah,
that hit was like, that's the kind of hit they don't want in the league anymore. If this is 1994, you go, stay out of the trolley tracks. But like, that's not what it is anymore.
Yeah, that was a tough one. Now, Gino has to have a meeting with the NHL, right?
Yes, because he was ejected.
He was a hearing.
Yeah.
He's probably going to get suspended. Probably like 2 games.
Maybe.
Where has Tanner Jeannot of the Nashville Predators gone?
That is wild, hey? Remember the
huge
Bolts?
deal to Tampa Bay?
Yeah.
Wasn't that like a 5
picks, a first, a second, a third, a fourth, and a 5th round pick just to get Tanner Jeannot. And
That's awesome.
In his career with the Tampa Bay Lightning, he played 77 games and scored 18 points, 8 goals. So yeah, not great. And then they traded him to LA where he has 1 goal in 15. And now he'll have more games suspended than games with a goal.
I got a couple of things left in the news. Then we're going to get to the betting segment. Tyler's going to handle that one too. But I got a question for Liam.
For me?
Yeah, for you specifically. I'm hoping you can explain something like I'm 5. Would you?
Okay.
NCAA has voted to allow CHL players to play on starting in 2025-26. I don't know what this means.
Okay.
Please. Go ahead.
So up until yesterday, CHL players, that's the WHL, OHL, and QMJHL, could not play in the NCAA because there was a rule that basically said that they were pro athletes or semi-pro athletes, whatever it was. Yesterday, it was determined that the NCAA is now going to scrap that rule so players can now commit to NCAA colleges from those leagues. There's probably going to be a few other things in there what the CHL puts in or like certain leagues put in. But the big difference in Canadian hockey was that you had the Western League and OHL, QMJHL, and then you had your junior A leagues, which was the path to the NCAA. Mm-hmm. Now that's not a thing. It still is like everyone can kind of play wherever they want, I guess. But it is also not a rule for Division 3 athletes. It's only Division 1 you can go to.
My favorite little tidbit that came out of it was collegehockeyinc.com did an FAQ. And one of the questions that was asked was, I was drafted in the CHL and was provided with a hat, jersey, and or team apparel. Am I allowed to keep these items? And the response was, no, you cannot accept jerseys, hats, t-shirts, or material benefits from the teams without paying for them. If you have received these items in the mail, your options are to mail the item back, pay the team for the cost of the item, or donate the item to charity to guarantee that there's no issue with NCAA eligibility.
Where'd you read that?
The collegehockeyinc.com.
Is that
that's old though, right?
That was from the announcement yesterday.
Oh, I think they're changing that because with the NIL now, players are allowed to accept things.
But in the NIL, it's only for American athletes.
So what I read today, an agency put out like a statement on things and said you're allowed to accept anything that is like within the means of being an athlete. Whereas CHL players can play in the NCAA only if they don't accept more than necessary expenses from a CHL team, including apparel, transportation, equipment, supplies, coaching, ice time, and medical treatment.
I just love the idea of the CHL team sending out hats to all these players, trying to get them to be attacked.
But it's good for the CHL. The leagues that might suffer would be the tier 2 junior leagues.
Yeah, the CHL. I don't know if it is good. Like it's such a weird thing because at the end of the day, Hockey Canada lost this fight. Hockey Canada is not going to benefit from this within Canada. Yes, their athletes will go and play a higher level in the NCAA. It's better than the CHL because it's the level up. But you should want to, those elite players, and I know maybe this is a bit hypocritical because I work for an organization that sends players to the US, but there's all this talk now of Gavin McKenna potentially going playing in the NCAA. Do you know you want Gavin McKenna to be challenging for Memorial Cups and winning WHL championships and having those moments in your CHL jerseys, not for the University of Minnesota or Denver, whatever it may be.
But you can only go to the NCAA once you're done high school.
Yeah.
So
no, that's not true. You can go early. Some kids go early. If it depends when your birthday is.
You still have to have a high school diploma because you have to be a college athlete.
Yeah, and if he's gone ahead of in school, he can go.
Okay, so that takes like a pretty rare circumstance then.
A guy like McKenna would probably be in that situation.
Would qualify.
Yeah. Because these guys, and also another thing too, and this is not me taking a shot at any of these guys, but school has probably not been much of a focus for players going to the Western League.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these guys are just like, I want to play in the NHL, be a pro athlete, where junior A players, they have to have had this education to back them the whole way to get into the NCAA schools. So I think it's going to be very interesting. I think Hockey Canada is just another, and I know they didn't really have much influence on this decision. It did come from the NCAA, but just another scenario where junior A has just been absolutely screwed again.
I guess I have the question of, do the leagues not have the option now of responding with their own kind of rules? Like the CHL could start to offer compensation to its players to try and encourage players to join the CHL.
Yeah.
But then all that's going to happen is like the reason the CHL's, I said, okay with this is because now those high-end kids, think of a Macklin Celebrini,
Fantelli.
Yeah, Cale Makar. Before they were going to the AJHL, USHL route because they knew they wanted to play college. Now those same kids don't have to make that choice as early on. They can say, I'm going to go play major junior. And when I turn 18 and I'm done high school in my draft year, or maybe the year after my draft year, now I can go play college still. So the big pull for leagues like the BCHL, USHL was you can come play with us, play a high level of junior hockey and not burn your college eligibility. Now the CHL can offer that same thing.
The other layer of it that is bugging the crap out of me is the idea that these players who decided before this decision was made to go and take the collegiate path, who have gone to the USHL, maybe they're playing in the AJHL, the BCHL, wherever it is, that they're now just going to drop everything and just go and play for their CHL teams without the idea of like, maybe the player actually likes playing in these organizations and maybe these organizations are doing a good job of developing these players. One positive of all of this, I think, is that CHL teams are now going to have to hold their organizations to a high standard to keep these players around, because otherwise maybe they will just go play in the USHL. Because you saw that report a few weeks ago from Rick Westhead of, it was the Tri-City Americans. They had a player, he was a 3rd round pick, who was like not given the correct medical treatment. And within like a month, a star player on that team was literally driven to the hospital by the trainer. And they had basically the same injury. And now this guy's career kind of fell off the grid because of this injury and he wasn't given the correct treatment. It's like, you have to give these players the correct junior hockey experience too. So there you go.
Thank you.
Long story short.
Listen, I'm still trying to figure out Zach, not Luke Bryan. It's all confusing.
Damn it.
Nation beer down.
My shoe fell off and I tried to put it on.
That was a fascinating.
Yeah, my finger slipped. My sock was hanging up.
I don't even know what happened there.
So
You
frustrated.
just kicked the table as hard as you could.
We'll have to go to an instant replay. Go ahead.
As hard as he could. The last thing I want to mention in the news is I think we should probably spend a few minutes on it. What was arguably one of the coolest days in TNN history in recent memory happened yesterday. The network announced first thing in the morning that Jeff Merrick would be joining the roster. And I know he jumped on your show and he jumped on the Leafs Morning Take with Alberga. And he actually wrote us a really lovely kind of note last night to the entire staff about what it means to be joining the network. I just kind of wanted your guys' thoughts because for me, Merrick's a guy I've been watching on TV forever. And he's been part of my growing up as a hockey fan in this country. And now the idea that we get to work with him is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool day.
Yeah, getting to talk to them over the last like day or so here and just seeing, like you said in the letter, how excited he is, but also like how much respect he's had for what we've built up here, right? Because we're no longer, as much as we still like having the mindset, we're no longer like the scrappy little underdogs. Like we're starting to swing with the big boys, right? And seeing him come in and be like, I can't wait to help you guys grow, but also him being impressed with what we've built at the Nation was kind of like a cool moment of like, oh man, like I know there's stuff behind the scenes that goes on with these, but like he picked us in a way because he sees the ability to like grow with us. So it's really cool. I think it's great for our company, obviously.
Dan, you've been around the longest after me here. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, like for a person that obviously I've been here for going on 8 years and been a fan of sports before that, I've watched this environment and watched how, you know, free agents go back and forth between the different teams. And here we are, a new team and a new option. And it's just really cool I said it on the post and I feel it still now. It's really cool to be on the same team as a smart hockey mind as Jeff Merrick is, or sharp hockey mind.
Liam asked him if the Hall of Fame was haunted.
I didn't ask him if it was. I know it's haunted.
And what did he say?
You said, I'm with you, Liam. I know it is because I do my own research.
Facts are stats.
He told us a story about how an old banker who used to work at the bank that is now the Hockey Hall of Fame because it's a former bank was having an affair with someone, got caught and ended her own life. And she still haunts the Hall of Fame to this day.
Yeah.
That's what you guys talked to Merrick about.
Yeah, I asked him.
Yeah, we dead ass talked about all of this.
Day one. Welcome to the team.
Welcome to the Nation Network, Merrick. Anyway, I'm sitting here watching some of the clips of him going out and he's sitting there wearing a Nation Network hoodie on it. And in the reveal video, he throws the hat on. And
which was sick.
I just thought it was really cool because I remember days when, you know, a new kind of quote unquote competitor or new place would open. And Dan, you'd remember too, where they would just come in and take all our people. And then we go, well, let's see what we can do now. And to have it kind of go the reverse is really quite remarkable to watch. So I guess all I want to end there with is just to say thanks to everybody who listens to this nonsense and reads the articles and follows on socials. If you didn't do that, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. And ultimately, it's all to create more content for you guys. And, you know, messaging him a little bit this morning about what he's got planned. I'm super excited to see when it starts to come out. And I think you will be too. And I think you're going to get a little bit of a different Jeff Merrick than maybe what you're used to.
Which is sick.
I think it's going to be great. And with that, let's move on to a little betting talk. Of course, the betting talk is always and only provided courtesy of our friends at Bet365. The betting segment is brought to you by Bet365, proud partner of Oilers Nation Radio. Open an account at Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. So whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Use the promo code NATION. The code is NATION. Nation.
Different. Used to be something else. Now it's Nation.
Now it's
All
Nation.
caps.
All caps. Tyler, what do you got for us today?
2 futures bets, but first on the game tomorrow. Don't have any goal scorers up or anything like that, but let me just go around the horn quickly. Instead of guess the line, do you think the Oilers are favorites or underdogs tomorrow against Vancouver, Dan?
I would guess that they are slight favorites.
Slight favorites?
Underdogs.
Liam says underdogs.
I'm going to say they're dogs. They're in Vancouver. They're dogs tomorrow.
They are minus 115 on the money line. Slight favorites.
How is that? How does that make sense?
I don't know.
Betting public loves the Oilers comeback.
The betting public does love the Oilers. Clearly, that's where that line comes from.
Yeah.
But to me, watching them, living it,
Vancouver's won 3 in a row.
I don't know that I agree with it. Like, I watched part of the Canucks game last night, and Quinn Hughes put on a clinic last night against the Kings. And like, to hear that the boys are dogs on the road, or that they're favorited on the road, I should say, surprising to me.
Plus 150 in regulation, plus 220 on the puck line for those of you that like chasing the juice. A couple of futures plays for you guys. We haven't talked a lot about awards because, I mean, it's early in the season, but Leon Draisaitl, 9 goals on the season in 14 games. That puts him tied for 6th in the NHL, 2 back of the league lead. Austin Matthews, even though he's hurt, is still the favorite at Bet365 to win the Rocket Richard at plus 170. Nikita Kucherov is second at plus 600. Guess the line. What do you think Leon Draisaitl's at to lead the league in goals and win the Rocket Richard this year?
The Rocket Richard?
He's right in the mix.
And he's third?
He's tied for 6th right now with 9.
No,
two back
sorry.
of the lead.
On the list, he's third.
He's not 3rd.
Oh,
But I just gave you those for context. Plus
I'm gonna
600 and then plus 1.
Plus 380. I just think like when I think of Rocket Richard, this is not a shot against Leon. I wish he would shoot the puck more. I just don't think of necessarily Draisaitl being there.
I'm going to guess plus 800.
1,800. Final decision.
He is 4th on the odds board. You got Matthews at 170, Kucherov at 600, Pasternak at 850, and then Draisaitl comes in at 9-1.
Wow.
Reinhart, Tage Thompson round out the top 5. Kyle Connor's in the mix there as well.
I'm surprised Matthews' odds are what they are.
I know, because he's hurt right now. He wasn't scoring a lot when he was in the
He's
lineup.
not playing today. He's already been ruled out for the weekend.
Yep.
Who knows how long that's going to be out for?
Mm-hmm. Next one I got for you guys is the MVP of the league. Similar to the question I asked you about the Oilers, he's been hurt. His production is down. He's not even a point per game player right now. Do you still think Connor McDavid is the favorite for the Hart Trophy, or do you think there's someone else who's taken that?
I'm going to go Nathan McKinnon's probably the favorite.
Hellebuck favorite?
Or Kucherov.
There's no way that Kaprizov has rose to the absolute top yet.
Dan is correct. Kaprizov is not rose to the top. He's plus 550 and 4th. McKinnon is 3rd at plus 500. Kucherov is 2nd at plus 300. And they still have Connor McDavid at plus 220.
Where's Hellebuck?
Connor Hellebuck is 70-1.
It's a good
369.
Wow, if you're looking for a little sprinkle.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Who's the last goalie to win MVP?
Wow.
Last goalie to win.
Carey Price. Carey Price. Yeah.
That's why I thought it was Carey Price, like
I think it's Price.
2011.
Yeah, okay. There have only been 8 goalies in NHL history who have won the Hart.
Wow.
The last one was in 2014-15. You guys nailed it. Carey Price. Before that, it was another Montreal Canadiens goaltender.
Patrick Waugh?
It was actually Jose Theodore.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I was going to guess Jocelyn Thibault.
97, 98, and 96, 97. Dominic Hasek went back-to-back Hart winners.
That's crazy.
Before that, you'd have to go all the way back to 1962 when Jacques Plante did it. Before that, it was Al Rollins in 54, then Chuck Rayner in 1950. And the very first goaltender to win the Hart Trophy for the most valuable player was Roy Warders in 1929.
So you said 2014 was his year that you won?
14-15, yeah, Carey Price.
So that year, Price had a 196 goals against average and a 933.
44 wins. And
He played
18
66
losses.
games, 44 wins.
He had 9 shutouts.
A 933 to finish the season. Could you imagine having goaltending like that?
Winning more than half of your team's games, like that's insane.
That is wild.
That's crazy.
But like, it's also bananas. Like, again, back-to-back Hart trophies for Dominic Hasek.
Yes.
930 and a 932 back-to-back seasons is what he did.
I was looking today, and this is kind of on topic, just on Canadian goalies with their skinhead numbers from 5-on-5. So Cam Talbot is the best save percentage at 929 or whatever it is.
Sweet.
At 5-on-5 for a Canadian.
The year is 2017.
The next guy, second on the list, is Jake Allen with a 904.
The year is 2017.
How crazy is that?
It is weird. I'm looking at Dominic Hasek's numbers from those 2 back-to-back Harts. The first time he did it in 96, 97, he played 67 games. And then the second year he did it, he played 72 games and finished with a 932.
10 more games.
Yeah, they don't make
He had
them
a
like
goals
that anymore.
against average of 209 in 72 games. That is ridiculous.
Last one I got for you guys, scoring race. Nathan McKinnon is the leader at 25. Kaprizov has 24. Both Kucherov and Makar have 23. To get to Connor McDavid's spot in the scoring race, you have to go all the way down to a tie for 97, where he's in the mix with Ryan O'Reilly, Tyler Seguin, Mika Zibanejad, and Shea Theodore. Guess the line. What do you think? Kucherov's the favorite to win the Art Ross in the scoring title at plus 200. What do you think McDavid is?
Plus 550.
I'm going to say, you said 97th?
Yeah, he's tied for 97.
I'm going to guess like 1,500. Plus 1,500.
No. 400.
Plus 320. So still a lot of respect there. And I thought, because I've been doing a really good job of this and keeping track of everybody's kind of guesses here throughout the year on certain things, give me a day looking at the Oilers schedule, because we did this last year. He was like 80th in points, whatever. Give me the date in which Connor McDavid re-enters the top 10 in league scoring.
And how many points? Well, what is the top 10 right now, I guess?
So essentially he's got what, 10?
He's got 10 points. And
so
the
he's
leaders,
15 back.
To get into the top 10, he is 9 back. Of Dylan Strome.
I'm going to go by New Year's.
New Year's. BM will say New Year's. New Year's Eve or the day the calendar flips? Because they play that night.
Okay, I'll do New Year's Day.
New Year's Day.
Happy New Year.
Rick, all right, has no power.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, Rick will be like
Rick
by the
will.
weekend.
Islanders.
Yeah.
Liam?
Fun part about when Rick's not here is we get to shit on him a little bit. He can't do nothing
And
about
he
it.
won't listen.
No, of course not.
After the Avs game on the 30th of November.
Whoa, I'll say December 10th. Liam says November 30th. Dan?
I'm going to go into the middle there right before Christmas.
So like December 23rd?
Yeah.
There you go. We'll see who gets closest to being correct. When can McDavid creep back into the top 10? It'd be very funny if tomorrow against Vancouver, he gets like 5 points and it's like,
Rick was right.
It's gonna happen. Like
That's
you're
the
not
thing.
gonna keep him doing this for long. It's going to happen.
Somewhere in that streak, he'll have 2 games of back-to-back 3-point nights.
Or like we'll have like a run of 3 games where you go, did he really just pick up 16 points in 3 games?
Yeah. And they'll go,
he'll have like a 6-point game and it'll be like he did against Detroit last year. But like,
Yeah.
There'll be no coverage because we're just all so numb to it.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. it did
Again, Tyler and I talk about this often, both on shows and on the website. Just appreciate what you're watching.
oh yeah.
Moving along, Ask the Idiots. I've taken your questions and I'm going to ask the boys for their first opinion. They haven't seen these, but first I got to tell you about the first of all, the sick gear for the love of the game gear that our girl Kennedy designed. We are going to be raising some money for the Jasper Minor Hockey Association. If you don't know, essentially the kids are being sent out to Hinton these days to play. There was some damage at the arena with the wildfires. They have to rebuild, and we're going to do what we can to raise some money for them. So every purchase of the For Love of the Game merch helps local kids in Jasper keep playing the game they love. Thank you for supporting Jasper community for the love of the game. And we've got a crew neck, we've got a t-shirt, and personally, in my opinion, I think they are sick. I really like how Kennedy put these together. I think they turned out great. If you're not interested in buying one, we also have a GoFundMe link right available in the Nation Gear store. You can just send a donation straight through. And if you can't do that, you can still help us out just by sharing the link. That goes a long ways. So if you want to share that for us on social, that also is a huge, huge help. So we'd appreciate that. Go to nationgear.ca. You can pick up some threads today, and they are sweet. Let me assure you. Boys, I got 4 questions. Ask the Idiots today. We got a little bit of weather stuff, and we got one that's nonsense.
Perfect.
Dan, I'm going to start with you down at the end of the row here. There's been a lot of hate for Darnell Nurse. Everybody knows it, but I want to know what is something he's done well this year, and what do you think he's best at?
I mean, yeah. Okay. Every team has a Darnell Nurse. They have a contract that you would love to be lower. For Darnell, I think this year he's done well is to just continue to be able to go out there and consistently give it with a different D pairing or a different side of the ice to play on every single night. It's been a lot of tumultuous time for Darnell. So I just think his ability to stick with it has been great.
Liam, was Daryl do well?
I think he's shooting the puck a lot more.
Yep.
And I like that about him.
Yep.
I think he's at his best when he's kind of getting up in the rush, letting it rip. So got an assist the other day on a shot from the point.
Yep.
So I think Daryl's doing well in that regard.
Tyler?
No matter how bad things may go on for him, he still brings toughness.
Yep.
He can be dash 2, have a couple bad turnovers, whatever. If he needs to step in and fight someone, he'll do it. If he thinks the team needs a bit of a jump, he'll do it. If he can go lay a hit, he can. Like, I do like that. That is one consistent part of his game. He's tough.
The thing that I like most about Darnell Nurse's game is last year we started calling him Simple Daryl towards the end of the year. When he plays a simple brand of hockey, he's really effective. And I don't think he's the only one right now that's not playing simple hockey. But to Tyler's point, if ever you need somebody to step in and beat the tar off someone, Darnell Nurse is going to do it. Or Corey Perry if he's out there. But Darnell Nurse never hesitates. And frankly, I've seen him fight enough in his career as an Oiler. He is a scary man.
Mm-hmm.
And that never changes. Question number 2, reversing the order. This one comes in from Brent. Tyler. You have a magic wand to make one change to the Oilers' offensive or defensive tactics. What is that change?
One change to the Oilers' offensive or defensive tactics.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Using
goodness.
the word tactics is interesting there because then we're getting outside of like, okay, let's change up the lines or whatever. Man, I'll go with the power play, and I will say I'd like them to just embrace chaos a little bit more on the power play. Just shovel pucks towards the front of the net, all of that kind of stuff. They are still caught, and I get it because they're so highly skilled, but they just get too cute sometimes. It probably bleeds into their 5-on-5 play as well. You make your own bounces sometimes, like we saw Zach Hyman chases after a puck, it bounces right onto his stick, and he scores. I wish they'd embrace chaos a little bit more rather than trying to pass the puck into the net.
Liam, you are a magic human being, a wizard, perhaps. You're a wizard, Liam. Make one change to the Oilers' defensive or offensive tactics.
Not really in the tactics game of things, but one thing I'll say is that irritates me, and I understand it, but sometimes the Oilers are coming out of games with like 5 hits. It's like, you're telling me there wasn't an opportunity to crush a defenseman along the boards or something, like on the forecheck. And I would say just be more aggressive in moments. And I understand that does come with like puck possession occasionally too, but like even with puck possession, surely you can hit a guy more than double figures, right? More than single figures, sorry. So I'll say be more aggressive in moments.
Dan, what do you got?
I'm going to take Liam's and focus it right on one part of the game that I think just needs it is the penalty kill. I would like to see some ruthless aggression on the penalty kill, even if that means that guys are getting out of position because they're going after a guy that just received the puck. I just think that NHL players are just like everybody else, and they don't like to have people in their kitchen. If you get in their faces and you expand that box out a little bit more, you're going to have more pressure and more opportunity to go the other way with it. So yeah, ruthless aggression.
I'm going to go to the power play, and I'll say I'm going to piggyback off embrace the chaos a little bit. I command you to shoot and not overpass it. Right now, I think the boys are gripping the stick a little bit. They're so used to being good on the power play that they are probably confused why it's not working. We're all humans after all. As much as we like to think these guys are machines, they're not. But what I can tell you, and I believe it to be true, right in my plums, if you shoot the puck and crash the crease, you will outnumber the defending team. That's just how the power play works. It's simple math. You're going to find some loose pucks and you're going to get some greasy goals. And if you commit to doing that, I would almost bet that Evan Bouchard shot at the top of the zone opens up a little bit. I'd almost bet that cross ice pass to Leon Draisaitl in his office opens a little bit. But sometimes to take 2 steps forward, you take 1 step back. So keep it simple on the power play. Embrace a little bit more chaos. Crash the crease. Third question, jumping in the middle. Liam, you're the first one to start this one because it is your turn. This is so stupid. This one comes in from Bryce.
Oh, Bryce.
Would you rather go to every Oilers game for the rest of your life wearing a Flames jersey, even if they're not playing, or would you rather never go to a game again?
Boy. I don't even go often enough to have this bother me, so I just don't go.
Well, just think. Last year you went to the playoffs, you went on a bunch of runs. We sat in the stands, but you got to wear a Flames jersey.
No, I wouldn't go.
It would just get so flipping tiresome after the 40th game of people being like, "You're lost fan. You're a lost fan."
You end up on the big screen in that lost fan segment
every week.
But eventually it would turn, and eventually you would become
You'd play the Flames.
Well, no, but like eventually you'd almost be like a McMullet Magoo where it's like, oh yeah, that's the Flames guy. And people would be like, well, yeah, no, he's an Oilers fan. And everyone would be in on the bit. It would take a couple seasons, but eventually everyone would be in on the bit.
Well, there's that father and daughter in Toronto that go to every game wearing the opposing team's jerseys. I feel like the feedback on that is consistently angry and hateful. So,
but they're doing it to troll.
They are. Yes.
You would be doing it because you have to in this weird hypothetical. Like people hate them because they go and cheer for the other team.
True.
I'd go and cheer for the Oilers.
Yeah.
You're just in a Flames jersey.
And eventually people would get the bit.
You go to a lot of games, but every one you're sitting in the corner there in a Flames jersey. That's what you're doing?
Why not?
Get revenue share put on the back of your jersey.
Yeah.
Dan, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm not going to another hockey game ever again. Honestly, I don't think I would last one season without getting into it with somebody over it. It would wear thin on me.
Yeah, you're too big.
I've worn a Flames hat for like a minute and it made my stomach turn.
The from going on the road in these games and being the guy in the crowd that cheers for the other team with my jersey on and knowing what that can be like. I don't want to find out what Oilers fans are like. If I'm in a Flames jersey.
Yeah.
Listen, I've heard Oilers fans yell at a kid for wearing the opposing team's jersey. So you're going to get yelled at.
I'll never forget. It was a birthday game. We were back at Rexall Place and I was up in the gallery. It was my birthday. And the Oilers were playing the Canucks and they were dummying the Canucks. There was eventually a goal for Vancouver where a guy, he was hammered, stood up in the stairs and starts cheering obnoxiously for the Canucks. And there was an Oilers fan who put his foot to his back and he fell all the way down the stairs at the gallery.
We do
So
not
to Dan's
recommend
point, no, first of all, we don't encourage that. But to Dan's point, I go, I don't know. But you know what? I love the Oilers. I'm still going. I'm still going. I'll if I have to wear a Flames jersey, I'm putting the name on the back. I lost a bet, and then people will get it.
Yep.
I'm going to find a way around it, but I'm going to the games. Final question, ask the idiots. And this was just silly. This one comes in from Angela Tyler. Breakfast for dinner or dinner for breakfast?
Oh, wow. Pancakes for dinner or pizza for breakfast? What do I like more? I think it's pizza for breakfast, especially if I'm a little hungover and it's like, I know there's like a nice slice of cheese in the fridge.
So this is an interesting question.
Yeah.
Because as an Englishman, our best meals are breakfast meals.
Yeah.
English
beans.
fry-up's delicious.
Yeah. Beans. Yes, beans. So I'm going to say breakfast for dinner. There's been a few times I've had an English fry-up for my dinner.
Dan?
Breakfast for dinner is an elite combination. I don't even eat breakfast that much, to be honest, anymore. So,
And to be honest, if I do, I'm probably having it. It's probably my dinner from the night before.
Yep.
So I'm both. I'm in C.
Williams just says yes. Yes to the question. I'm going breakfast for dinner. I also don't really eat breakfast all that much.
I had a piece of banana bread today.
I had drive-through breakfast this morning.
I've eaten. So, no, I went for lunch with Wanya, but I just drank coffee this morning.
That's usually what I do as well, to be honest. Or an
Breakfast of
orange.
champions in a can.
Weird duo. Coffee and orange.
I don't think that's weird.
Well, one's like, it's just very flavorful, both of them.
It reminds me of one time, the first time we ever went traveling for the playoffs. Remember, Tyler, we were down in LA. It was just me, you, and Jay. We went to Denny's and we were all very hungover and you guys got breakfast and I just got like 6 drinks.
Yeah. You got a smoothie and orange juice and a coffee, which honestly is a great breakfast.
Yeah.
There was one time, and I probably shouldn't tell this story because it's not good luck for me, but I will.
Go on.
For the fans,
Do it.
for you at home. We were on a boys trip down in Calgary and we went to Denny's and it was probably 10:30 or something like that. And I was viciously hungover. And we were going to the Labor Day game that day in Calgary. And we're at Denny's and all my friends again, like pancake puppies, all that good stuff. And I just got hot wings and an Oreo milkshake.
That's insane.
And but the Denny's was so hot, like that I literally had to like leave the restaurant and just pace around outside for 5 minutes. My friends think it's just the funniest story. And
That's an insane combo on the best of days.
yeah, it was awesome.
Like, that's your breakfast? That is I
But I
couldn't
just
put hot wings down that early.
Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't want any kind of like breakfast items. Just like chicken wings is good.
When I'm super hungover, and you guys have seen me hungover plenty of times, like eating is the last thing I want to do.
Yeah, I don't like eating that
I have to like
much.
force myself to eat.
And I know I'll feel better when I do, but like I can't get there. It takes me like it's a real mental hurdle for me to get there to put something in my mouth that isn't me consulting the pharmacy. Yeah. Shout out to the pharmacy. Of course, you know my rule. Bring those daytime cold and flus with you wherever you go. Same symptoms. Can't tell me they're not. All right, boys, let's wrap up the podcast. Hot and cold performers. This one is presented by Tyler. Tyler is the proud sponsor of Hot and Cold Performers. If you don't like this segment, Tyler will send you a refund at his soonest convenience. As we do every week, we start off with our veggies, and I'm going to start with Nation Dan. He's first on my screen that I'm looking at. Your cold performer of the week.
Well, it's just going to go out for, I don't know, like it seemed like they wanted to make a big deal out of it, but some of the coaches that EA Sports Hockey revealed were just embarrassing. John
Ryan Huska
Tortorella
was awesome.
Sorry, which one? Oh yeah, the Huska from Calgary.
That's funny.
Scott Arneal from Winnipeg. It's like they went and actively trolled the Canadian hockey team. So Knoblauch's pretty good though.
He's way more of a silver fox than he is. You know?
That's fair. They seem to lame that way in EA anyways, but they get my cold performer of the week.
Liam, you're up. Cold performer of the week.
The NCAA CHL thing is just going to make my life so much more difficult than I truly want it to be. So I'll just put it on that for the time being.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Tyler, you're up. Cold performer of the week.
My cold performer of the week is Barry Trotz and the Nashville Predators. You spent $100 million on free agents and now you're threatening a rebuild? That doesn't make any sense. Your team stinks. Cold performer.
I'm upset.
So my cold performer of the week is I live in a townhouse complex and I was walking my dog earlier this week, Tuesday, on leash. And as I'm walking through the complex, I see a dog twice the size of my own that is off leash running towards mine.
Oh.
And what does he do is he tries to attack Frank.
No, like actually like aggressively?
Yep.
Oh boy.
And thankfully, Frank is a Boston Terrier. He's an incredibly agile dog. So he was tap dancing this larger dog quite well and effectively. So while this is going on, I've got Frank over here in my right arm on leash trying to pull him away. And then I grab the other dog by the scruff of its neck and I pull it backwards. It didn't have a leash. It didn't have a collar. It had nothing. Meanwhile, the owner of said dog is screaming at me from across the parking lot, calling me a asshole, you name it, for putting my hands on her dog that is attacking my dog who is on leash.
What the heck?
I don't know how I'm the asshole here. Grabbing a dog by the scruff does not hurt it.
No. That's kind of the point.
That is kind of the point. So I handled it. And then I got in a screaming match with one of my neighbors where I am the asshole for putting my hands on her dog. Fuck you, lady. Fuck you.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
All right, let's wrap up the podcast.
It's a crazy story.
It was nuts.
So how did this end?
How it ends is she finally got a leash on her dog and pulled it away. And in the meantime, I thought like she was with some dude. I thought I'm getting in a fight. Like, I'm like, all right, I guess I'm scrapping now. I haven't been in one in a minute. It kind of subsided from there. But like, as I'm walking away, going back to my house, I'm like, how was I just getting screamed at? Like, if this was the reverse situation, I would have been so embarrassed and apologetic that my dog that was not on leash went straight to a dog half its size and attacked it.
Yeah.
So good news. Frank's fine. My guy handled himself quite well. And thankfully he's a very agile dog. And he just kind of boxered him a little bit, if that makes sense, where it's like he was slipping punches. He was slipping punches. So shout out to my dude. All right. I'm going to wrap up the podcast with some good news. Tyler, you're up first. Your Tyler Remchuk sponsored Hop Form of the Week.
Former colleague of ours, someone who I've really enjoyed my time around, Scott Burnside, was elected into the Hockey Hall of Fame. He was given the Elmer Ferguson Award for proficiency and dedication to hockey journalism, and his face will be on a plaque in the Hockey Hall of Fame for the rest of time. So shout out to our guy, Scotty B. He really is one of the best in the biz, and I'm happy I was able to call him a teammate, happy to call him a friend.
And also on his plaque, spend time at dailyfaceoff.com.
No shit.
It is.
The big guy is smoking hot.
Liam, you're up. The Yaremchuk Hop Form of the Week.
Well, I'm coming to the end of a few TV shows I've been watching. And they've all been fantastic. So I just want to give a quick shout out to the people who brought you Breaking Bad, Gilmore Girls, and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. All great pieces of television.
All very similar shows as well.
3 very different generations. Generations, is that what we'll call them? They're all awesome. Television shows, Breaking Bad, Gilmore Girls, and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. You're my Yaremchuk Cup Performance of the Week.
Uh-huh.
Woo! Friday, baby. Yeah, let's celebrate Friday. Woo!
Nation Dan. You're up. Hot performer of the week.
Well, if you want a good show to watch, Liam, the documentary,
Gilmore Girls, A Year in the Life?
The Remarkable Life of Evelyn is a documentary on Netflix I just watched last night.
Oh.
Bawled the entire time, but phenomenal film. Well done. But my hot performer of the week is going to go out to Connor McDavid's ankle. Tyler, I know you've been doing a good job of tracking us. I know we all had our predictions as to when he was going to come back. I'm pretty sure I said after this weekend, the dude comes back against Vegas. It's insane. So Connor McDavid, your ankle gets my hot performer of the week.
He's a hot guy.
What I learned is when they say 2 to 3 weeks in human years is not what that means
Divide by 3.
in McDavid years. He is just an animal. I'm just going to go back to what we were talking about a little bit earlier. Yesterday, the Nation Network did something pretty cool. We brought Merrick to the network. He's going to be providing a bunch of content at Daily Faceoff. He's going to have a brand new show coming called The Sheet. Super excited about it. Go subscribe on wherever you get your podcasts from. So when he gets ready to go, you'll all be subscribed and ready to go. So welcome to the team, Merrick.
Put some respect on my name.
Respect. And I got to press one more button, boys, because we got a game tomorrow, so we might as well do a little score prediction here, shall we? Let's go. Edmonton Oilers, game number 15 tomorrow against the Vancouver Canucks. The Canucks have won 3 in a row. As you learned in the betting segment, the Oilers are favored in this game despite being on the road. Dan, your score prediction.
I hate to say it. I feel like I'm just dragging on this team all the time, but it's going to be a 4-1 Canucks win.
3-2 Oilers.
4-3 Oilers in overtime.
And you got a 12-1 win for the Oilers. Have a great weekend, everybody.
What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.